Picture this. Kelly and Zach are both juniors in high school. Kelly is a cheerleader and is at the top of her class. And Zach plays basketball and already has a scholarship to LSU. And they both just found out that they're going to be parents together and they don't know what to do. Picture this. Sadie went to a party this past weekend and ended up sleeping with a guy that said nothing bad would happen. Well, after having symptoms and doing some research, she thinks she might have a severe STD and she doesn't know what to do. Too many cases like this are happening in the world and especially in the U.S. And the one thing that will help prevent teen pregnancies, teens getting STDs, and help with informing teens on how to take caution is if mandatory sexual education classes were taught in junior highs and high schools. Though there are many statistics that prove this idea to be effective, some disagree and believe that this should not be taught or that abstinence-only classes should be taught. SouthernEdDesk.org said that even though school districts in Mississippi were presented with the idea of sex ed classes, they would still only be teaching abstinence-only classes as their pregnancy and disease prevention program. So I will first give you some insight on teen pregnancy, talk to you about STD rates in teens, and then tell you about how teens can be informed about protecting themselves. First, I will tell you about teen pregnancy. First of all, there are so many teens ages 15 through 19 that are becoming parents. And according to David Barrett's article on teen pregnancy, the U.S. has the highest rate of teen pregnancy in the industrialized world. Personally, I have many friends that have become parents at a young age, and some words that my friend told me was that she never regrets her child, she only wishes that she would have been smarter and waited. Also, most teens don't have the means and support financially to raise a child. In those cases, the teen parent, child, parents of the teen, and often others are affected. An article by Aaron Sage said that adolescent mothers are less likely to complete high school, which decreases the likelihood of obtaining a job and increases the likelihood of some form of public assistance. Kirby Douglas's article said that the estimated annual cost to taxpayers of births to teen moms who were 19 or younger was at least $9 billion in 2004. So these quotes show that not only the teen and child suffer financially, but others are often affected. If students across the country were forced to take a class that taught these things, this could be prevented. Along with teen pregnancy, there's also something else that teens face. Another big thing that teens face is the spreading and receiving of STDs. A quote from Douglas's article said that about 1/3 of all sexually active young people become infected by an STD by age 24. He goes on to say that when 2004 data was analyzed, it showed that teen girls had the highest rate of chlamydia and gonorrhea. And another site, the CDC.gov site, gave facts that showed that the rate of primary and secondary syphilis among men 15 through 19 was the highest since 1995. I've always been one that has been aware of STDs because my mom taught me, but even in high school, when in conversations with classmates, especially the guys, many were not aware of the severity of an STD and how easy it was to contract one. It's a very scary thing to know that young people are sexually active and don't know all the risks that they are taking. Again, with in-school classes that would inform students about this, the rates of these facts could go down and be prevented. Along with teen pregnancy and STDs, teens could learn a third thing from sex ed classes. The last positive reason why all schools should have sexual education classes is to give students knowledge on how to take caution and protect themselves. It's helpful to sexually active teens to know the risks of sex, but it's even more helpful to them to know how to protect themselves and take caution and what to do if something life-changing does happen. Students could be taught the use and advantages of contraceptives and how they work. They could also be taught about STD checkups, the role of health clinics, and how to communicate with experienced physicians if a problem does come about. and it would probably be most helpful and comforting for them to know that it is okay to talk to someone about sex. SouthernEdDesk.org gave a quote from Ashwini Johnson from Mississippi. She stated that she couldn't imagine a teen who wouldn't want to know all the information about sex they could get. I'd want to know the whole truth, she said. Ashwini is a prime example of teens who want all the facts and risks about sex. A professionally taught class would be the best way for these students to learn this. With all this being said, many would question about how to go about this. And I would say that the solution to this would be to present the problem to the school or the school board. One could gather others who agree that sex ed classes should be in schools and set up a meeting with school officials. A person could also start a community-based movement that awares teens of sex, its consequences, and risks, while encouraging the teens to support the movement in their schools. And the main key to the solution would simply be to speak up and use your voice about this important matter. To conclude, we can see by many facts and statistics that teen pregnancy, STD rates for teens, and naive knowledge about sex has become a huge problem in the U.S. Teens everywhere are suffering physically and mentally from the consequences of unprotected sex, whether it be becoming a teen parent or getting a dangerous disease. And the best solution to this would be to have sex ed courses in junior highs and high schools everywhere. When we become a certain age, we all become responsible for our own choices. But how can one make the right choices without knowing the consequences of the bad ones? Parents, adults, and even teens should push for this to happen for the good of young people's futures. Thank you for listening.